In the 17th century, a group of native women called the Beatas lived together to dedicate themselves to the service of God. It was founded by a Chinese mestiza from Binondo, Ignacia del Espíritu Santo. The Beaterio became a center for spiritual enlightenment. Against the will of the King of Spain, the native Beatas bravely but quietly defied the civil authorities to attain freedom of religious expression and equality with the Spanish women. The Casa Recogidas, located at the back of our Colegio de Manila, took form in 1684. Because these women frequented our church to assist at Mass, receive the sacraments of penance and Holy Communion, make the spiritual exercises and other practices of devotion, they became popularly known as the Beatas de la Compañía. This convent was founded by Ignacia del Espíritu Santo, 21 years old, mestiza from Binondo, who, perceiving that her parents wished her to be married, determined to join as a beata at the Beaterio de Santo Domingo. Ignacia del Espíritu Santo's earliest record was contained in the baptismal registry of the Church of the Holy Kings in the 5th location of the Parian outside of the walls of Manila. She was baptized by the Dominican priest Alberto Collares on March 4, 1663. Her father's name was Giuseppe Yuko, a Chinese whose parents originated from Amoy, China, and who was baptized in the same church in 1652. Her mother was Maria Jeronima, presumably a native India, and her godmother, Catalina Malinang. The same baptismal registry recorded the names of her siblings, Rafaela, Santiago, and Juana, none of whom survived to adulthood. Maria Jeronima was listed as a godmother to a Chinese Indio baby, from which can be presumed that she was recognized as a practicing Catholic in the Church of the Holy Kings. Wishing to prepare herself with a general confession, she went for this purpose to Father Pablo Clain at our college. In order for her to make a better discernment, he counseled her to withdraw to the house of the Madre de la Congregación. It was during this period that God inspired her to remain in the service of His Majesty. And even though she had parents who could decently support her way of life, she resolved to earn her livelihood by the sweat of her brow, with a needle and pair of scissors that were the only things she brought from her home. Living family and a comfortable way of life, Ignacia chose a life of voluntary poverty in solidarity with the poor who had to earn their daily bread by the labor of their hands. She brought to use the skills she had imbibed from her Chinese Indio tradition, with which she would earn her living. The servant of God led her community in fidelity to the daily regimen of prayer, household chores, and apostolic ministry. In 1726, she presented a set of rules and constitutions to the Archdiocesan office, begging for the ecclesiastical approval to encourage them in the way of life they had chosen. The diocesan official who reviewed the documents she presented had this to say: Digitus Dei est hic. This is the finger of God. These rules can only be attributed to the interior law of charity under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. The favor she sought was granted by an apostolic administrator in 1732. The heroic virtue of the servant of God was clearly reflected in the community she founded. The charism of service to His Majesty, that was the grace of her vocation, found various expressions in her lifetime. The education of little children in Christian virtues, basic literacy, and feminine skills. The formation of adult women in Christian life through the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius, and providing the venue and opportunity for women of her race to attain their aspiration for a life of the evangelical counsels. On the 10th day of September, Mother Ignatia, foundress of this institution, passed away. She was the truly valiant woman. At the root of her heroism were her personal virtues, the leadership she employed to pursue the service of her Lord, but above all, the deep humility that transcended the human inclination to dominate, when, after she had set in place the affairs of her religious family and had gained the recognition of church authorities, she spontaneously abdicated her position as superior of the community while remaining an exemplary member of the institution she had brought into being. These were services to the Church, not only in the colony, but to the whole world, that would extend beyond the 85 years of her earthly life, and throughout the next 3 centuries of the existence of a religious family that had since become the congregation of the religious of the Virgin Mary. An excerpt from the Decretum Super Virtutibus. Through an accurate report by the Cardinal Prefect of the Congregation for the Causes of Saints, the Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, was dutifully informed of the cause of the servant of God, Mother Ignacia del Espiritu Santo. His Holiness, accepting and ratifying the said report, declared on this day, July 6, 2007, that servant of God, Ignacia del Espiritu Santo, foundress of the Congregation of the Sisters of the Blessed Virgin Mary, is found to possess to a heroic degree the theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity toward God and neighbor, as well as the cardinal virtues of prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude.